Hi Quilty friends, welcome back to Block of the Month. We're on month 6, so we're really over halfway there. So just keep trucking along. Okay, this month there's really not a whole lot that's really new. There's just a couple things I want to show you and refresh. Okay, so the two steps that the video is going to address are steps 5 and step 6. The other steps I think you will have no trouble figuring out. It's mostly half square triangles. But to get to step 5, you have to construct this block.
Matches your shirt.
Oh, it does. Okay, so I constructed this block. This block is going to become the center. We're right here. But what you need to notice is that the gray is on top and the blue on the bottom. And then what we're going to do is we have here 2 5¼ pieces. Now, the original directions said to cut them 5 1/8, but if you cut them 5 1/4, it gives you a little bit of leeway. You may have to do just a little bit of trimming, but I'd rather trim than have them come out short. So you're going to take both of these and you're going to cut them on the diagonal, so you end up with 2 triangles of each. The most important thing here, though, is you have to notice that we need to orient the colors correctly. So that's why we're going to look again at the picture, and we're going to make it look like the picture. And here we have the gray on top, and then we're going to put the lighter squares here and the darker squares against the blue. So now all we're going to do is sew these squares on. And we're going to do it pretty much like we've been. I'm going to mark the center though, so that I know I end up with a little bit on each edge. So there's my center. Okay, and I'm going to match that up with the center seam here, and then I'm going to sew this. And as you see, I'm probably not going to have a whole lot of extra. Okay, but I may have a little bit to trim. So I've got my gray thread, I've got my nice short stitch length, 1.8, and I'm just going to sew this on now.
You got the HP foot.
I do have the HP foot on, because that'll give me that nice scant 1/4 inch. So now I've got one on there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this seam this way towards the triangle, because that'll keep less bulk from this being folded back on itself. So I'm going to do this and make sure everything's nice and flat. Okay. Now, unlike the corner pop ruler, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this one now. Where with the corner pop, we would pre-trim that, but we can't use the corner pop because this is a much bigger, and we couldn't trim this away. We had to deal with the edge that we were given. Okay, again, let's make sure we're oriented correctly. Okay, the light blue goes against the gray. So this is going to go here.
You're just going to sew over that dog ear?
I am. I'm just going to sew this straight out like this. Okay? Line up my edges. I don't want to line up. And see, as you see, I really don't have a whole lot of extra here, even though we added that little bit of extra at 5 1/4. So nice and straight, keeping my seams pressed like I have them. press this. And again, I'm going to press it towards the triangle so that I'm not pressing seams back over seams. Okay, now I'm going to put these two here and here. Hopefully I don't have to check the orientation. I only have 2 sides left, right? Okay. Now this one. See, that one came out exactly at my 1/4 inch. See? Right there. So even with the 5 1/4, a little extra, I'm still, my cord looks to get caught.
That is a noisy egg.
I know, but at least I know it's steaming.
That's true.
Better than doubting it, right? Like, is it steaming? Okay, last one, and then we'll trim it up if we need to. Okay. All right, last side, and we'll trim. Like I said, you should be getting to be old pros with all of the rulers and instructions. Okay. All right. Now it looks pretty good. I didn't cut off any points. All right, it says that this should be a 9-inch square. Let's see. Of course, I have an 8-inch ruler, so that doesn't help. All right, I'm just barely a little bit over. So I need a 1/4 inch seam allowance over here. So I'm going to just trim a little bit so that I barely take anything off. Okay, but I lined up my 1/4 inch mark so that when I sew this into my quilt, it'll be right there. So I won't cut off my point. And now let's see. Okay, now I should get pretty much the same result. Yep, I'm right at my 1/4 inch mark there, and the 9-inch here.
So how'd you line that up on your mat? So
Okay, I had this side that I just cut on the 0, and this side on the 9, making sure that I had a 1/4 inch seam here.
Yep.
Okay, a little bit right there I didn't get. Okay, now we're gonna check this side. This side, same thing, I'm a tiny bit over, which makes sense because remember we cut our our squares just a little bigger, making our triangles just a little bigger. Okay, same thing here. I'm putting this at the 1/4 inch, And I'm lining my ruler up on that nice straight edge that I just made. And I'm going to turn it around, make sure I get 9 inches. Okay, I'm just right at the 9 inch right there. Okay, so now I have my 9 inch square. All right, now step 6. Okay, step 6, it really isn't anything you haven't done before. Okay, you take this is A, block A, and it is 6 7/8 inch square. It started out a 6 7/8 inch square. Okay, and then you had a white square that was 4 1/4 that I cut on the diagonal, and I've already replaced this corner. Okay, so now we're going to replace this corner.
Use the corner pop ruler to cut it.
Yes, okay, and you're using the corner pop. I cut it at the 3 on the corner pop ruler. Okay, so right here, I cut it off at the 3. Okay, and now I'm gonna take my half of a 4 1/4 inch square and I'm gonna put it on here, pretty well centered. Okay, and I'm gonna sew it. Okay, and what I have discovered is that when you sew this with the corner pop, when you've trimmed it with the corner pop, you really don't want a scant 1/4 inch. So if you put your regular 1/4 inch foot on, so you're getting a regular deep, true 1/4 inch and not the scant, you will get much better results with your edges and your seam line lining up.
This is your O foot for Janome people.
Yes, for Janome people, it's the regular 1/4 inch foot. So program your machine for 1/4 inch if you need to do that. Okay, and now we're going to sew this. And what we're going to have is a little bit deeper seam. But this is the only place you're going to want a regular 1/4 inch seam. Every place else, when you sew everything together, you still want that scant 1/4 inch seam. So I would change my foot back to the HP foot to get my scant 1/4 inch. Okay, the other thing is, be sure that you're keeping your 1/4 inch all the way to the end. If you fade here or here and it gets narrower, then that distorts your seam at the ends where you're trying to line up your ruler. So be sure that you're using a regular 1/4 inch, and I'll show you. This will come out really well placed on the ruler. Okay. Now take your ruler, and we're going to use the 3 mark. Remember, we used the 3 to cut it off, and we're going to use the 3 to line it up. So the 3, see the 3 line is going to go exactly on the seam line, and look, my edges will line up perfectly. So use a regular, not a scant 1/4 inch to sew it up, to sew the corner on. Okay, now the only thing that's different about this is I have now made this block, and now you're just going to cut it on the diagonal. So you're going to make 8 of these and then cut them on the diagonal down the middle of the blue. So you end up with 16 of these. And those are going to end up now going on here.
Ooh,
Okay, and you need 2 more.
fun.
So you end up with this block right here. Okay, so let's see. Let me see if I can orient it. Yeah, the gray is there. There we go. Okay. So there you go. Then from there on, you'll use your wing clipper to make your flying geese. You'll make more half square triangles, and then you'll just end up making these blocks as well. You're going to make 4 of these and 4 of these. Happy sewing!